You shove them in the box and transport them to the jailer, and he
I
goes, "Oh, I know what this is. I've been waiting for this package." He puts them in the cell and then opens it.
That's like really cute and sounds pretty terrible.
Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today we're talking about the spell Galder's Speedy Courier.
This is from the Lost Laboratory of Quellish. I think this is an Extra Life thing, or like there was some charity involved with this where someone, maybe it was Make-A-Wish, somebody made these as part of someone's like dream to make D&D content and stuff like that. That's to say, the quality of the content isn't aimed at being like powerful, it's aimed at making someone's dream come true. And I do think that's pretty apparent when you look at most of the things from Lost Laboratory of Quellish, and that's okay if they're like, Flock of Familiars is a cute concept, even though it doesn't necessarily stick to landing. This I think is one exact such case. Like, oh, it's conceptually kind of neat. I don't know if you ever would want to cast it, but if you buy the book, you're supporting a good cause, and that's the reason to do it, I would assume. So,
All right,
you know,
well,
context.
yeah, it's good. Maybe I'll feel a little bit worse about trashing it, but let's see. This is still official D&D content, yes?
Yes, this was
Okay.
released like the total package, like everything else was. This is on D&D Beyond. You can play this stuff in any of the sanctioned games, what few of them left that exist. So this is a 4th level conjuration spell for Warlocks and Wizards. It takes an action to cast, 10-foot range. It's got verbal, static, material components. Those material components being 25 gold pieces or mineral goods of equivalent value, which the spell consumes. Same money to use this.
Yeah.
Duration 10 minutes. You summon a small air elemental to a spot within range. The air elemental is formless, nearly transparent, immune to all damage, and cannot interact with other creatures or objects. It carries an open, empty chest whose interior dimensions are 3 feet on each side. While the spell lasts, you can deposit as many items inside the chest as will fit. You can then name a living creature you have met and have seen at least once before, or any creature for which you possess a body part, lock of hair, clipping from a nail, or similar portion of the creature's body. As soon as the lid of the chest is closed, the elemental in the chest disappear, then reappear adjacent to the target. If the target is a creature if the target creature is on another plane, or if it is proofed against magic detector in a location, the contents of the chest reappear at the ground on the ground at your feet. The target creature is made aware of the chest contents before it chooses whether or not to open it, and it knows how much of the spell's duration remain in which it can retrieve them. No other creature can open the chest and retrieve its contents. When the spell expires or when all the contents of the chest have been removed, the elemental and chest disappear. The elemental also disappears if the target creature orders it to return the items to you. When the elemental disappears, any items not taken from the chest reappear on the ground at your feet. At higher levels, you can cast a spell using an 8th level spell slot. You can send the chest to a creature on a different plane of existence from you if you do that. Neat.
All right. It'd be fun to like cut off all somebody's fingers and then send them back one by one as they decay. But you
I
keep
think
one because you have to use it to cast the spell.
I like conceptually right, like you cut somebody's head off and you send them to hell, and then you take their head in Galder Speedy Courier and you put that in the box and you send it straight to hell with an 8th level spell slot. That's really funny.
Yeah, that could be fun.
Yeah. Uh,
Um,
Go for it.
all right. So the small bothering thing, you summon a small air elemental to a spot within range. The air elemental is formless, nearly transparent, immune to all damage, and cannot interact with other creatures or objects. Now, I get why they have it like this. It bothers me. If a creature like that exists, I want to be able to interact with it in other ways.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think that the fantasy is very much being sold here as like you have a little air elemental servant companion kind of deal that's running
Mhm.
errands for you. That's the Speedy Courier that you're sort of casting the spell to control. But then it just doesn't act like that at all. It just acts like an extra dimensional teleport, right? This is just
Yeah,
you can't see it, you can't touch it, it can't touch other things. It's just a floating chest, fundamentally, is what
yeah,
happens here. Then you put stuff in and then it teleports it somewhere else. This is one of those tubes that you use in the mail buildings to send letters to other across floors, right? That's the gist of this, just across the
right.
plane instead. It's really small too. 3-foot chest is not large.
What's the other one they had? The secret chest. Like,
Yeah,
is that what I'm thinking of? That
the, the
sucks.
the one that you have a little chest on you that you store things extra dimensionally. Yes.
Yeah, and you have to break amethyst or something to summon
Oh,
it.
that's
Is
instant
that a different one?
summons. Is the
Ah,
one
right.
you just spend thousands of gold to get an instantaneous item teleport to you. This is a sending items to people kind of deal. I think there are cute use cases for this. I like the idea of you get a MacGuffin and you send it to somebody whenever you're in a pinch, like, oh, I've met
Yeah.
this person, I know this person well, I got the MacGuffin, get in the chest, it's gone. Now the monster doesn't have access to the phylactery or whatever, right? It guarantees something gets out safely. I'd like to get out
Yeah, that's
safely
true.
with whatever item that is, though, right? Like if I have the
Yeah.
MacGuffin, I'd like to live, and not using a 4th level spell slot to help me live might be a problem, actually.
Well, that maybe, it's very valuable to the creature you took it from. So now you have a seat at the negotiating table.
Sure, you know where it is, they don't. That's
Yeah.
cute. Like you do this not as a combative tactic, but as a, all right, we're gonna negotiate. I took your phylactery. You're my bitch now. You have to do what I
Yeah.
say, or we are going. It's somewhere where it will be destroyed, and I have a telepathic link to that person, which can be just a bluff. You could have just like sent it to grandma or something. She doesn't know what to
Yeah.
do with this weird cryptic skull pendant, but you're like,
You're
you
gonna
don't know where it
feel
is, and I do.
you're gonna feel really bad when he finds out, goes and kills grandma.
Yeah, which is a cute little use case. I think like I don't I don't know why this spell doesn't have a ritual tag, to be honest with you. I think that would make it a lot more interesting if you could, because it costs gold to use anyway. So giving this
Hmm.
a ritual tag lets it at least be kind of like this remote service that could exist in worlds where these air elementals are like summoned by wizards to transport items around. I think that's kind of novel, kind of interesting. I don't ever want to spend a spell slot on this kind of effect just because it usually doesn't do anything. This is like a instantaneous carrier pigeon. This is a instant message. This is an email the spell, because I don't find there to be that much value in sending goods. Like from a player perspective, I don't find there like that much value in moving 3 cubic feet of stuff to somebody. Whereas like information is normally what's gonna matter more, right? Is
Yeah.
that a fair thought?
Yeah, this is one of those world building spells that I usually enjoy, not so much this one, but I could see it being part of the DM's description of us. You go into the city, there's these air elementals carrying boxes of oranges around, and yeah, they're
They
supplying supermarkets
I
across
wish
the
it did
world.
look like that, because it doesn't. They just disappear and reappear, right?
Yeah,
It's
that's true.
instantaneous. So these just chests appearing places. Which I mean,
Yeah.
you can have some cool, like, I imagine a wizard emporium just has you pay premium for the instant summons or the instant or speedy couriers, right? And you just see like these chests appearing in their designated spots, and the wizard goes and pops them open and like takes stuff out of them and then sends stuff back, and is doing all these kinds of high magic nonsense things with these instant teleporting chests kind of deal. There is a cool fantasy to that. I think it's quite enriching. I just don't see it beyond that being that usable of an ability. This is a fun thought experiment to take into high magic societies and say, how does mercantile trade work whenever there isn't a distance issue anymore? Whenever you don't need to have people sending at least small quantities of goods over long distances, like fine spices, powders, and poisons automatically become really easy to move high dosage amounts of those things instantly. You just need a 4th level spell slot and 25 gold. Um, but like there is a real lack of reason to use this as a player. If you're not like hiding a MacGuffin, I don't see any much reason why I'd ever put this on a character sheet, right?
What about I mean, I'm looking through the spell description. Does it have to be a mundane object?
Not gonna be any object that fits in the box.
Could be a creature?
Um, well, as well as you can deposit any items inside the chest as it will fit. So I don't think so.
Well, I mean, a
I
creature
don't
is an
consider a
item.
creature an item. I consider a
Mhm.
corpse an item. So if you kill somebody, put them in a box, and then revivify them on the other side, sure, that's kind of
Okay.
cute.
So I'm thinking, 3 feet is still pretty small, but you could squeeze in there and it's instant.
Halflings
Like
fit in there, no problem.
halflings, yeah,
Gnomes,
fine.
kobolds,
Or like
child,
yes, or even a orc contortionist.
sure. Yeah.
Um, yeah, so there's might be value in that. I mean, depending on your DM's ruling, then you could do it. Just depending on your DM's ruling, it'll be a lot more brutal one way.
The
Yeah.
question is like, how valuable is that even still? It's a 4th level spell slot for one small creature to teleport.
No,
That's kind of
probably
what that
not
reads,
super
right?
valuable, but yeah. All right, if you've got a troublesome enemy that you need to oh, what is it? What is it? You got
Imprison,
your
incarcerate.
bounty. Yeah, he
Oh
needs to
yeah,
be
yeah, yeah.
brought back alive. Then yeah, you shove him in the box and transport him to the jailer, and
I
Goes, oh, I know what this is. I've been waiting for this package. He puts them in the cell and then opens it.
that's like really cute and sounds pretty terrible. Like, I don't put that on my character sheet for that reason. This still takes a spell slot, takes spell known, like all those kinds of things.
Or, like even better, you're a bounty hunter and you go to the sheriff first and hand him a revivify scroll, say, you're gonna need this. Then you go kill the guy, put him in a
Find a
box.
priest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you had 3 minutes.
So like I also really want to quickly mention I do think this is a little bit more novel on Warlock. Even though it doesn't scale with spell level, it is the kind of effect that you might want once or twice a campaign. And given that Warlocks usually default to like 3 or 4 of the same spells over and over and over again with their 2 or 3 packed slots, you can have extra excess spells that have rather narrow effects feel kind of harmless in your known spells just because you're gonna know what the 3 or 4 you want to be casting with your 5th level slots are. That's not going to be tough and contentious. So you have plenty of room for niche effects that are like this, where you would do it in windows that you're not using the spell slots otherwise anyway, right?
Whoa, you're blowing my mind right now. Because of their limited known spells,
Because
you're putting fluff that you don't need.
No, because you have so few slots to work with so many known spells, you are not going to often have as many. You don't ever have as many spell slots to use as spells you have known. So
Right.
as your 15th spell known, I think that this is entirely harmless, and it will have. You'll use it in very different windows. You'll use almost every other spell in the game, which earns it some amount of points on a Warlock specifically. It's still not like a spell you consider as my first 4th level spell. No, but at like 13th level, when you go, well, I still am getting new spells known, I might as well take Speedy Courier here because I can use it for some random instance in town or during my downtime or something like that, right? And then it has a little bit more modality to your spell slots.
Okay,
it's still not something you're going to actually use adventuring.
Yes.
You're going to stick to the same 5 spells that you use adventuring because you've got 3 spells now, or 3 spell slots total. So
yeah. All right. Anything else you got to say about this?
I mean, it does a neat effect. I don't see it being a 1. I do think it's pretty hard. Something. I think it's a 2, and it's pretty comfortably that. I don't think 99% of characters need this ever. I do think you can find interesting ways to use it, and that makes it a good spell to exist. I think it's way over cost. I think this could be a 2nd level spell, and no one would really bat an eye. That'd be kind of interesting because it'd be like a cheap, cool transit thing. Being a 4th level is really friggin' expensive, so that's gonna keep it in the 2 territory for me.
Yeah, that sounds about right. But I could probably be talked up to a 3 if the commenters will leave other creative uses for it below. So the challenge for you. Yes, that was Galder's Speedy Courier. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Sam. Let us know what you think down in the comments. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.